So Gemini, I lost the video where I showed you this reading. I'm just gonna leave it there for 1 second. If you want to pause it here and take all this in and do your own interpretation, you can have 2 readings for this new moon in Aquarius. Unfortunately, we're going to have to redo your reading here. So I'm going to take this one apart. And this is kind of nice. It'll show you, what I do as far as shuffling between readings goes. I'm not sure if you really want that much information, but you're going to get it because I also want to keep an eye on this computer and make sure that it continues to record for us as we move into your second new moon reading for the moon in Vedic sidereal Aquarius. That's right, everybody's saying it's Pisces, but it's not the end yet. It's the sign before the end in the sidereal chart, which is the one that I like to use. In that chart, this one is falling into your 9th house. And that's the sign of clergy and professors. It's kind of systemic authority, governments, academies, religious institutions, communal, intergenerational living can be represented there as well if you live with your extended family. And there's a stellium in Aquarius this go, and the sun, the moon always are there on a new moon, and that's the inception or conception of what's going on. But this time there's also Neptune and Venus and Mercury. Venus is combust, so she's so close to the sun that she's actually in the underworld with Pluto. She's experiencing a sort of soul-to-soul conversation, as we all are in this particular lunation. It might have an influence on your logic, your ideas, and that extended family that we talked about before, that intergenerational living, because of Saturn's influence. This is a Saturn house for you, the 9th house, and Mercury there as well. This is good. This was the crowning card of your last reading, the 6 of Swords. Moving on with the ideas, the learning, the education that you got from whatever preceded, whatever you got from the lunar cycle previous, is showing up for you here as you move into your next cycle, which will last until the 12th of April. Yay, and you've got the Ace of Pentacles to accompany you on this journey. The Ace of the sign of material security, the sign of nature. It's a new beginning for you as you journey out from your previous lunar cycle, and you are heading into a new opportunity, maybe a new venture, could be a new business, could be overseas. But there's a sense of a new prosperity for you here, Gemini. And since it looks like our video is recording, we will proceed on to see what that new venture, perhaps new idea, actually is. Looking for a signifier for your reading, and the signifier in the Celtic cross is the one who shows us, and this is actually the who you are in the present moment from your last reading too, although I did shuffle, so we want to make sure that that's clear. The Page of Wands is the adventurer. He's excited. This is a great card to represent Gemini, as I mentioned when I did the previous reading. It is a young, fresh, happy energy of exploration and freedom. He's all about courage. He's got a lot of faith. You know, he's not yet the hero on his journey. He's a little young for that, but he's eager to go, and he is holding the sword of a knight who is adventurous, and he's off on his new adventure. He's covered by the world. This, for me, is the most fortunate card in the deck. It's a major arcana card, so it carries all kinds of weight with it. It's about fulfillment and harmony and completion. And because we watch these lunar cycles, we know that when one cycle completes, another cycle begins. It looks like you have a lot of energy and enthusiasm for your new cycle. You are crossed by your romanticism. Now, as I do these readings, I read this card as an obstacle card, so as if it were in reverse. While he's romantic and idealistic and beautifully optimistic about following his heart, in the upright, when he's reversed, the Knight of Cups is moody. He can be a bit detached from reality and have a distaste for the harder aspects of reality. Like, who doesn't? It's not like anybody really wants to go diving into difficult things. But, you know, there may be some avoiding of that, especially because the world and the completion of the cycle before it was so grand and so great. You are crowned in this reading by the High Priestess. And she is la que sabe, right? She is one who knows. Her intuition, she's also major arcana in case that isn't there for you, but she, her intuition and her inner voice are true. You will have the guidance of your intuition for this forward journey in the next lunar cycle. You will have the ability to see clearly in the internal way that you do. The Boaz and Yakim on her pillars there speak about unity and strength. And, you know, as you're trying to use this opportunity to come into clearer communication with your soul, you couldn't have a better crowning card than that. It improves your communication, which is another beautiful Gemini trait, 100-fold. Your foundation is the moon. Now, this is the Pisces card. Interesting, because in the tropical astrology, this is a Pisces moon. It's Aquarian in the Vedic philosophy, where I like to read from. But this is another major arcana card, which makes me believe that there are, you know, higher forces at work pulling on you in this particular situation. This is the card of the unconscious and illusion, but it's another card of intuition. And it's a card of your deeper forces, the anima forces speaking to you in the real world. You can sometimes feel like a small crustacean having to make a dangerous journey at night with this card. But trust your intuition here. It's guided you well so far. Try to keep that sense of excitement, even if your idealism has let you down in the past. You might want to take a little breather. This is my favorite card. This is the Rest card. And I love it so much because one of the mantras that I'm using and something that I'm trying to come into contact with is the idea of resting as awareness. I did a meditation on this during the last new moon. It's available for you. I think it was a full moon. I did a meditation for you available on the natosi.kisum webpage, or YouTube page, if you want to take a look at that while you subscribe, ding, ding, ding. And it's about coming into closer contact with your interior self, your soul, and listening to its messages and using your intuition. to move forward toward clarity. We did say that this lunar period might be more about ideas and logic for you, and this is proving true in your reading. We have, moving on with gleaned ideas in the Six of Swords, we have a meditation card here, and then we have the Queen of Swords, who is a card of near mastery, like she's almost mastered the suit of ideas and intellect and logic and reason, but she is complexity and apprehending complexity with a perceptive, clear, introverted mind. If you glean nothing else from the reading so far, listen to your interior voice is what this card spread is screaming to me at this point. You need to be self-referenced, and consensus reality isn't going to serve you here. It's very important that you listen within. Beautiful. I think he was the foundation card in your... No, probably not. I shouldn't do that. Anyway, the magician has everything he needs for this journey. He's got the pentacle, the cup, the wand, the sword, and he has this other wand here that is connected between him and eternity, between heaven and earth. And that's another key and important point of this particular lunation. It's about a Vedic deity that is the lightning strike. It is the connection between heaven and earth. This particular person has that connection very strongly, and I think this particular person is you, by the way, and I think that's why it's so important that you listen to your intuition and not be affected so much by the world, by romantic ideas, by idealism. What's actually occurring within you has the voice of your soul in it if you have the ear to listen. All around you is anxiety. There is hopelessness and trauma in your immediate environment. What is around you is not supportive of your inner truth, your clarity, your reason, your logic. What is around you is disturbing your internal equilibrium. And this reading is saying that your internal equilibrium is very, very important. Don't look outside of yourself for answers. You're not going to find them there, and it's going to put you more into this situation, right? You need yourself. You need constructive thoughts and openness in order to be able to openness and adventuresomeness, that's not a word, if you're going to carry forward with your soul's mission here, and I think you are. Nice. Your hopes and fears card is very reasonably the Wheel of Fortune. Could be good luck, but look at all the major arcana in this reading so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards, including this Wheel of Fortune, which is about the cycles. After the rain comes sun, and after the sun comes rain. So if you are finding yourself in difficult surroundings at this point, check with your inner guide and see if you can find a way to outlast the moment. If this lunar cycle proves to be very difficult for you, which it may. I mean, we didn't come here for the white picket fence, the 2.5 kids, and no difficulties. We came here to work with our soul to get greater understanding. And it looks like you're on your way to do that, but you have to be internally referenced. You have to be listening to yourself, capital S, self. Beautiful. The return home. If you read this card, since you have 2 6s here, I think this repeating message of Swords and Sixes makes me feel like this difficulty that you're overcoming now is very significant to your soul's sense of return. And that's really what's happening here, right? It's an excursion. It's an adventure. The soul goes out, collects data or whatever kind of information it needs. That's a mystery to us. We don't get to know. And then as the wheel turns, it returns to its source. And it seems like that's what this reading is reminding you of. There are losses in life. There are difficulties. There is anxiety. There are problems seeing the way forward in a clear way. There's like a moodiness and an attachment and a distaste for the difficulty that we have to go through. But all of that is the soul's will. It wants it. And for one reason or another, we have decided that we're going to do this with the soul, for the soul, right? For the gain that we don't understand. Now, the base of the deck is the Page of Swords, and he's the energy that controls everything that's going on here. So again, returning to logic, ideas, ratiocination, definitely much a reading about being self-referenced and looking inside. Now this one is a curious fellow, and that's kind of a Gemini trait, right? He is the kind of person who's got a lot of restless mental energy, can be quite chatty, can be kind of other referenced, can be checking in with other people, and even at times spying, because he places a lot of the value of his life on what's going on externally. And what's going on externally is fickle and involved in cycles. And you may have just come off a really great cycle where you were, complete and very happy, very joyous. And you may be moving in a circle that's not as joyous right now. But if you keep looking to the circle, you will stay in the difficulty. When you refer to yourself, excuse me, Gemini, and your soul, you will find the way through the difficulty to the information that you are trying to acquire with your curiosity, with your restlessness. Lovely. And your medicine card for this reading is Porcupine. This is a card of innocence, right? Spies are not innocent in a very important way. And we need to say that, right? We need to be honest about reality. Because if we're not honest about reality, it's the obstacle in this reading. If we're not being true to what's really real, to what's innocent and good, and in alignment with nature, then we're going to end up in a place where we don't get to play, where we don't get to necessarily return home, or we make the return home much more difficult. Play, innocence, internal reference, not taking life too seriously, not becoming anxious, not becoming jaded, not becoming a spy, not being overly moody about anything. Having some fun, like you originally did, as you gain mastery over your world and your circumstances, seems like the way Spirit is urging you to go. I'll be interested to see what you do. This is a time of gathering for you. This is a time of preparing. I think that plays very well with the Rest and Meditate card. You know, it looks like you're just trying to figure out what you want as opposed to what consensus reality is telling you you want. That's the only reason that anybody really comes to this planet, is to experience and to express who they are. You've only really got to do that one thing in life. And I hope that you are able to use all of your resources to overcome the difficulties inherent in doing that. We all have to. It's for our future and for the evolution of soul that we do that work. I hope you are excited and interested in so doing, Gemini. Here's to your second reading for the day. I hope you were able to get lots of information that help you from it. And I thank you so much for your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, and just for your attention with my video today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. I'm very appreciative. Thank you, Gemini.